I just want to record right now in this moment that I've kind of been suffering over the winter, and I've been smoking more weed, and people have different things to say about that, and throughout the course of it all, I've thought to myself, oh, I've got to try to quit, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and it's not helping me anymore. And what I realize is that life is really quite difficult, and if you don't have any reasons to be happy or to be stress free, you got a lot of reasons to be stressful, you're not going to get anything done. There's two types of personalities. Personality types being whatever you are that minute. And there's A and B. A is a stressed out type. It always feels like it needs things done yesterday and it never really gets anywhere. And then the B type is just this relaxed, creative spirit. And I realize that people are stuck poor, they're stuck in the trap because they never get to really experience that sense of freedom from all these constraining facets of society. And it really wouldn't be that bad because we already raise our children by ourselves. They're not working, but we're providing for them. But we don't allow them to have that sense of freedom and non-responsibility because we project all of our hopes and dreams that we abandoned for them onto them. Like, if only we could go back and do everything different. So we say, well, we'll have kids and we'll have them do everything different. So we'll just tell them all our mistakes and have them live the opposite way that we lived. But what we realize is what we tell our kids isn't how our kids act. Our kids emulate us. They don't listen to us. They do what we do. They don't do what we tell them to. They do what we do. So that's one of the things I've realized. I think a lot of that has to do with weed and opening up the consciousness and getting rid of stress. I never really realized in my entire 20 years of my life before I was totally straight edge. And for 20 years of my life I was like that. And I looked down on that stuff. I said I didn't need that and I was against it. And I never really realized what it was like to be stress-free, what it was like to be in a state of flow or creativity. I'd probably experienced it for sure when I was a kid, but I feel like my flow experiences were destroyed by people. It ruined my confidence and told me, I wasn't good enough now, so I never would be. And weed really helped me let go of a lot of that stuff. And, winter's tough. It's tough not having a lot of friends or not having a lot of money or not being able to do the things that you want to do. And, for me, weed wasn't one of those things where it was dragging me down, It's fairly easy to, if you have a friend that smokes, you just buy for them too and then smoke less, and then, you don't have a problem money-wise. It just fulfills itself. And then once I realized that, I kind of figured that it wasn't really the weed that was harming me because I didn't even need it necessarily, and I was still trapped. But now that it's nicer out, it's warm weather, it's rainy today, but it's nice, it's not cold. I really opened back up, and, over the past week, I went from feeling a little bit better, but still smoking just as much, to feeling, alright, but I was smoking less, to feeling a little bit better and smoking less, to today where it almost feels like I've smoked. I'm very calm and creative. I've been singing, freestyling, just relaxing, enjoying the nature that's around me. This beautiful, lonely day out here. And I haven't even smoked yet. I came here to do so and to, this is where I come to be creative and relax and let loose. But I haven't even had to smoke. And, I feel really good. And part of it I realized is, if it weren't for weed, I never would have come out here. I never would have come out to this garden and realized how beautiful all this stuff was. And I never would have let go of all my stress. I never would have realized how important creativity was to me. I'd still be trapped in thinking, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. I think that drugs, I don't take drugs to solve my problems. I take drugs because they help me realize how meaningless my problems are and how good I really have it. And, how much better I could have it, but still, I don't need that, Like, the person at the lowest of the rungs, like Job type shit, you already have everything you need. This life, in one way or another, whether there is a God or there isn't, is kind of just a test. Test among each other, a test to ourselves. The least we can say is that we're born, we're not sure how life is going to be, and we figure it out. That's a test. We're testing our own life, really. So what I've realized is drugs don't solve my problems, but they've helped me realize that my problems are meaningless. And now that I realize that there's no point being stressed about not accomplishing all these ridiculous expectations I've had on myself, and really realizing, hearing from different people, but mostly realizing myself that we really don't have to do anything, Like, I could just starve myself and die right now. There's no have to. There's no have to. And people are always coming to you with these have tos. You have to do this. You have to do that. Oh, you really should. Oh, you really shouldn't. You really can't. You really won't. It's impossible. It's already been done, and it didn't work. It doesn't work. It's not realistic. It's not cool. It's not right. It's not wrong. All these things, all these labels that we put, that we believe in these certain things. I think there's two kinds of, let's say, esoteric connection in this world. And they're kind of two names to represent two things, two ideas, two states. There's belief and there's faith. Now, belief is like religion. I believe this, I believe that, this is what I believe. This is what defines me. And this is a very, I don't want to say stagnant type of mindset, but it's a very unmalleable, unchanging type of thing. And if it wasn't working for you at the beginning, it's never going to work any better. And if it wasn't everything you expected it to be, everything you wanted it to be, it probably never will be. And then opposed to belief is faith. Belief is, this is how it is, definitely, for sure. But faith is more like, whether it is this or it isn't this, I'm pretty sure that it is. And even if I'm not sure that it is, believing this helps me, And to me, we all need faith. We all need to believe in ourselves, have faith in ourselves. At least, if we don't believe that it'll happen, at least have faith that it can. And I never really had faith until drugs, natural drugs. Not any of that shit they give you over the counter, the stuff that they'll give you for free. None of that stuff's worth anything to me. The only things I've had any real success with are cannabis, sativa, psilocybin mushrooms, and LSD. And these are all natural things. They're all helpful things. I don't think sativa is addictive, really. It's a great feeling, but if anything, it's one of those things where once you get it, you've been missing it for so long that you kind of have to take it for a while, even a few years, depending on how much stress you've buried inside your soul, to really allow it to release and allow yourself to become kind of nothing again. Because we build up this idea, this image, this belief of who we are, and it isn't working. Like, people aren't happy. Even the people that believe they're happy, they're not happy because they're unhealthy, or they don't do anything, or they've got all these expectations and stresses for others. I can't believe that anyone's happy if they have to stressedly tell me all the things that I have to do, otherwise my life's going to be horrible. If you're stressed about that, then your life's probably horrible. And what I've realized with with sativa, magic mushrooms, and LSD is that all of these things have helped open my mind. And though to many people it may seem like I'm in the same place as I was 3 or 5 years ago, psychologically, spiritually, I'm in a totally different place. I could have been running at the speed of light towards all these meaningless problems and solutions, like getting a minimum wage job. That'll be useful to me, but only when I know how to use it. You know, if we just go work for $10 an hour, $15 an hour with inflation, whatever, right? And we just live this expenditure type of lifestyle, consuming things and just living paycheck to paycheck, vacation to vacation, if we even have that liberty. We're really never getting anywhere. We're not developing ourselves. We're just working for someone else. Every $10 you make, you're making $100 or $1,000 for something else. I remember I worked at a cell phone company, and I would spend an hour on the phone, and I get paid, maybe $12 for that, $10, let's say, and I probably spoke to over 20 people, and, out of those 20 people, maybe 10 of them wanted to cancel the cell phone subscription, so that would have been, let's say $80 less a month. Even a lot of people's plans $100, so let's just keep it rounded to that. So I spent an hour for $10 to save a company 20 or 10 times $100. So I worked half an hour to make a company $1,000, and I got $10. And I took that $10 and I used it to cope with the fact that I worked an unfulfilling job where I was, basically making sure people didn't withdraw their money from some sort of recurringly consumptionary business that they didn't even really know how to use properly. Nobody uses their mobile data right. And it was just ultimately unfulfilling. And I found myself spending more energy, I felt myself wanting to get people off of the company I was working for more than I was wanting to get them on. And, I realized it was more fulfilling to be unemployed and to just discover myself and discover the world and dig deeper into the meaning of life and everything than it was to just be in this horrible, crappy job, living paycheck to paycheck, totally depressed all the time, upset in my relationship, upset with myself, didn't think I could do anything, undervaluing myself. And I never really had any kind of spiritual connection until I hit rock bottom, and I was just, looking for a solution in anything that I could find. And a certain thing, magic mushrooms, seemed promising to me for some reason, and I took it in it. It was a horrible, discomforting experience where I became awake to all of the things that I tortured myself with in life. And I became awake to the fact that it wasn't, in my relationship, I kept blaming my problems on my girlfriend, and it was never her, it was me. And it wasn't just me, it was the world. We're all stuck in this difficult situation, and it's a beautiful world, but a lot of us don't get to enjoy it because our culture and our society puts all these fears, doubts, and stresses on us, and we don't really get to understand ourselves. Nobody teaches us about money. Nobody teaches us about nutrition or, fitness or sleep, wellness, and development. Nobody teaches us about that. I went specifically for something like that, and they still didn't really get it to happen. They just sort of told us about it. So, it was at rock bottom when I'd taken those mushrooms and was faced with all the stuff I'd lied to myself about and been lied to, and all these things I'd internalized that made me weaker. And I was asking for answers to whatever might answer me. Sort of looking up at the sky, saying, what can I do? What have I done to deserve this? Why did this happen? How can I change this? And it was really weird. The answer didn't come from out in the sky or, from out in the clouds. It really came from within me. I asked this question, and then I just had this thought, it was you. You allowed it to happen. It was done to you. You allowed it to happen, and it's okay. It is what it is, and it was what it was, and it will be what it will be. But what it will be is not what it was, and it's not what it is. And what it is not what it was, and what it was is not what it will be. And maybe that sounds crazy to someone who, doesn't really think much past the surface. But, that, like, I'm not looking down on those type of people. That's a really, how do I put this? It's a very hard way to suffer when you don't understand how you're suffering. And you just think that, you're doing your best and trying, and this is what you're supposed to do, and it's what everyone else does, it's what's expected of you. It's just not the right way to live. You got to get away from the people that tell you can't, won't, isn't, impossible, all that stuff, You got to get away from the people, or at least the ideas, that tell you all these limiting beliefs. And you don't got to come up with your own beliefs. You just have to, you don't have to believe in anything. Just have faith that in obvious stuff, like if I go for a walk, I will have gone for a walk. If I exercise, I will have exercised. If I eat well, I will have eaten well. That's an easy thing to have faith in. And, we all want this magic pill solution, and it's just so easy. It's so simple. Simple but not easy. The easy part is doing it. The simple part is what to do. And the complicated part, the difficult part, is, not knowing what to do and thinking it's harder than it is. And, not having anyone to help you out, or not believing that there's anyone to help you out. There's so many books. You can go into a library and get a membership for free, or if you don't have the money for a paid membership, you could steal a book from the library and return it later. Ultimately, I don't think that really matters, because they'll probably just order another book anyway, and they have the money for that. But somebody else is gonna not be able to read that book while it's gone. So preferably, pay your way if you can.